Hi, I'm David Barroux. I'm the editor-in-chief of Les Echos. I was here last year with the same two guests on the panel. The subject was the same. Is digital transformation something important for the cosmetic industry? The answer was yes, and I guess it's still yes today. But we can go a little bit deeper than that to try to understand what are the dynamics of this cosmetic industry and why it's really being changed by what's happening in the digital world. Before we see exactly what has changed in the last 12 months, give us maybe a broad picture of what digital has changed in the last few years, maybe for L'Oréal and for the cosmetic industry in general. Jean-Paul.
So good afternoon, everyone. Digital has changed everything. It's simple to remember and simple to simplify. I don't know if you hear well, because here we have the engine of the air conditioning and we hear nothing. So, but it's okay. As long as you hear something, it's fine.
The room can hear.
So digital has changed everything. You know, we used to say now at L'Oréal that now everything is different from the way we used to do marketing, sales, conceiving products 10 years before. So it has been a true revolution, meaning that nothing is like before. And the good thing also is that not only it has changed, but it has changed for the better. We really believe that now, thanks to digital, the connection that we have with consumers is much better. The consumers is really at the heart of everything we do. The relationship that our brands have with their consumers is much more intimate, rich, interesting compared to what it was before. And also, just to conclude on that, it has been very positive, both for the market and for L'Oréal. The beauty market last year had its best year in 20 years, plus 5.5%. And this is definitely linked to digital and e-commerce. And L'Oréal also had its best year last year in the past 10 or 15 years, and it's also thanks to e-commerce and digital.
How do you explain that for your industry, digital has not been an agent of trouble, but an agent of positive change? In the previous roundtable I was with Sébastien Bazin from Agon, he has to face Airbnb, and it's a big trouble. Why is it that in the cosmetic industry, the digital revolution has had more than a positive impact than the negative impact?
I think two reasons. First, because there is a perfect match between digital and beauty. Both are very visual. It goes along very well together. So the digital, on the contrary, has really boosted the interest for beauty, the consumption of beauty, the interest for brands and products. And also another thing is that from the very beginning at L'Oréal, since 2010, we have taken the digital revolution as an opportunity. We never saw that as a threat. We never saw that as a dangerous disruption. We saw it from the very beginning, and I think we were the first company to really see it coming, get ready, embrace it, and from the very beginning we saw it as a fantastic opportunity to do our job better, to connect with consumers better. So from the very beginning it has been seen as an opportunity, something positive, and never as a threat. And it's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Lubomira, you're the CDO of L'Oréal. In many companies...
CDO, huh?
CDO, yeah. Did I
say
thought he said
CEO?
No, no, it's the noise that makes something. Not yet. In many companies, the CDO have to face resistance sometimes. It's not that easy to transform a company from the inside. Where did you put the emphasis first when it came to digital transformation? What was, you think, the priority? What was the need? Where were the needs that had to change at the beginning, and what have you done so far in terms of digital transformation?
I think what helped us really tremendously is the culture of L'Oréal. L'Oréal is a company that embraces change as something that's super positive. It's a company that has embraced every type of change. We embraced, TV advertising. We embraced the emergence of supermarkets. We embraced the emergence of the luxury distribution channel. Digital was yet another revolution that we embraced with the same passion, enthusiasm, and the 86,000 people that composes the company were absolutely passionate about adding this new chord to our arc. In terms of the priorities, it was really about, contrary to your example with the previous company you were animating the roundtable about, for us, it has re-intermediated. In fact, it had allowed us to have a direct connection with our consumers that we didn't have before. So it was just bonus for us. And in terms of the priorities, it was really about investing in a new channel to grow, which is e-commerce. Grow, of course, because first semester, 12% of our revenue was e-commerce, growing above 43%. Almost half of the growth of the company is coming from e-commerce. So that's one big thing we really focused all our energies, collective energy about. The second thing is personalization, making sure that we can personalize our relationship with consumers based on services, based on new type of advertising, etc. And the third thing was really about reinventing completely our marketing model and embracing new forms of content, new formats, and doing precision advertising at scale.
When it comes to retail, do you think that maybe the digital revolution will allow you to go direct to consumer more and more and to bypass the traditional retailers that have been your partners for a long time? Don't you have this maybe opportunity to actually sell direct?
No, we don't see it like that at all. We think that we are strongly believers at L'Oréal that the future is about what they call now O plus O, offline plus online, or what they call phygital in Europe, which is the alliance of retail and digital, retail and e-commerce. I'm really convinced that in the future, what will happen is that consumers will be free. They will be free to buy or experience or discover products and brands wherever they want. So I think the challenge for the retail will be to reinvent its experience, its consumer experience, because in the past, the only place where you could have a large choice, maybe, and good price were stores. Now you can have them also on e-commerce. So the challenge for retail is to reinvent itself into a real experience place where consumers not only, they don't need just to go there, but they want to go. And that's what we are doing to help them. We are working with all type of channels, with hypermarkets, supermarkets, department stores, pharmacies, everything, to help them reinvent themselves so that they are part of the ecosystem of tomorrow.
Not bypassing them.
No, absolutely not. We have no interest to do that. And we are a company of 110 years, and during all these years, we have been partnering with the retail partners, and they are here to stay. The only thing is that they will change, they will reinvent themselves. And so we want to be the partners more than ever of those who will be able to reinvent themselves.
Lubomira, can you tell us what you've learned in the Chinese market, which is maybe the most advanced e-commerce for cosmetics, I think. What have you learned there? Is this a very specific market, or do you have lessons you could take from China in other countries?
I think when we think of China, we think of one of the most advanced ecosystem in the world. If you think of applications such as WeChat, WeChat is a combination of maybe 10 other applications from the Western world. So it's a very, very integrated ecosystem where people are not only mobile first, but they are mobile only. 95% of all consumers that are buying on Alibaba are buying on mobile. That's one thing. The second thing we've learned is that there is no barrier between transactional platforms and media platforms. It's the same thing. You do your branding, you sell in the same platform. The scale that digital transformation has taken in China is properly phenomenal. Obviously, it's a lot about e-commerce. So a lot of lessons we learn, especially around the O plus O, the online plus offline, dynamic is in China. We are replicating in other markets, and I think one of the key things we learn from China also is the importance of services. Services being, for example, makeup try-on, skincare diagnostic, booking. When you are on the website, you want to book maybe an appointment with a hairdresser and go offline. So online to offline is really something that is existing. It's not a dream, it is a reality in China. And so this is why also seeing this fantastic importance of services as the glue between the online and offline world, we committed to acquire Modiface, a company, a Canadian startup that is specialized on augmented reality and artificial intelligence, to really integrate this capability of building new services, new consumer experiences for the digital age.
When it comes to brands, do you think that with the digital revolution, you will have actually more competition? Because new brands it's easier to launch a brand today because you can start from nothing and have global reach very rapidly. You can build the distribution network very rapidly. Whereas in the past, there were many barriers to entry. So do you face more competition from digital native brands? And is this maybe going to have an impact on the landscape that will make your life slightly more difficult?
It's a very good question, and I think that there were many misconceptions about it. You know, during many years, people told us, L'Oréal, you're going to see it's going to be very difficult for you because thanks to digital internet, many new brands will come on the market. The barriers to entry have disappeared, and in fact, what we have seen is that yes, there are many more small brands that exist on the market, but many of them are very tiny. But it's true that there are many, because it's very easy to, you can launch your own line, David.
I didn't tell you, but
I think it would be a great idea. Makeup for Men by David Barroux. Could be beautiful, but I'm sorry to tell you, but it's going to stay very small. Okay. So you will launch your brand, you will exist online. If people really want to buy your product, they can do it, but the difficulties to scale up are still as big as they were. And what is very interesting, and we said that for many years and no one believed us, but now it's proven, it's that in fact digital is, on the contrary, boosting big brands. Why? Because algorithm, e-commerce, rating and reviews, the whole system of the digital is in fact boosting brands that are the most top of mind, hero products that are the most top of mind, and this is just gonna get even more. You know, tomorrow when there will be the vocal assistant, Alexa and others, by definition, when you will ask Alexa, tell me what mascara I should use, Alexa will not be able to give you 100 names, 200 names, 1,000 names. She will probably give you one name or two names. She will give you L'Oréal or Lancôme. And so, in fact...
Not David Barroux.
Probably not David Barroux. But we'll see. But no, it's very interesting because there are many misconceptions and in fact, digital, in fact, is helping our brands. And the proof is that last year, it was the best year ever in the history of L'Oréal in terms of the growth of our most powerful brands like Lancôme, Yves Saint Laurent, Kiehl's, Armani, L'Oréal, etc.
We have less than 10 minutes left. I'm going to keep on asking a few questions, but there will be time maybe for a few questions from the audience, so I think you know how to ask your question, and I have an iPad to check them. Another question on brands. Does it have an influence on the way you grow in terms of M&A? L'Oréal has a very strong culture of acquisitions. Because of the digital revolution, do you think that you maybe need to make less acquisition and invest more in brands that start from zero, which is not totally the culture of L'Oréal, or has it had no impact so far on your M&A strategy?
It's difficult to say. The only clear thing is that now when we buy a new brand, this brand needs to have a digital equity or have a good digital acumen, because brands of tomorrow are brands that have understood the digital ecosystem, that know how to play with it, and you know, for us it would make no sense to buy a brand that is completely archaic and knows nothing about digital. But honestly, it doesn't really make a difference. It's interesting because now at L'Oréal, all our brands are digital. You know, some more than others, some much more. Some are totally digital native. Some have embraced digital. But now, for all our brands, the capacity to play the digital game, like for all our employees, by the way, for all our teams, is absolutely necessary.
But to your point, we have also created an investment fund called Bold, which is now intending and specializing in taking small tickets into startups, be they beauty brands or beauty tech companies. And the first investment we did was in a small startup that we were hosting in Station F called Sillage Paris. And Sillage Paris is a personalized fragrance online model that we're happy to have invested in. So we will go more in that direction too.
On personalization, how far do you think it will go? Is it going to be like a niche market for makeup, for perfume, for a few things? Or can it become a big chunk of your business will be personalized in one way or another?
You know, very long term, it's clear that personalization is the name of the game. Because, you know, we have, for example, roughly 1.3, 1.4 billion consumers around the world. Very soon, we will be able to have the data of these 1.4 billion consumers. And of course, the fact that we have this collection of brands of all channels, all categories, in all regions, is a fantastic weapon and tool to maximize the data. So one day, and as you can see on our booth here at VivaTech, we have what we call the little factory, which are tools that allow us to create products for individuals. So if you really look long term, probably, I don't know how many years it will take, but we will be able to do personalized product for our 1.4 billion consumers around the world.
Will you be able to do that and still manage the cost? Because personalization starts by costing more. Mass market is efficient. There is economy of scale. So how can you do it with a good business sense?
But
because
I think that
we will sell more expensive.
But I think that personalization is not only about personalized products. Personalization, there are many degrees of personalization. You can start by having a personalized relationship in terms of the advertising you're going to sell, in terms of personalizing your landing page when you arrive on your website, sending personalized messages in terms of the CRM, of the widget messages we can send. So that's a very important part of the personalization today. Then you have a second piece, which is exactly what we are showing at the booth right now, which is based on diagnostic. For example, skincare, super important to be diagnosed with your skin concern. And we have developed the first AI and science-powered skincare diagnostic that is scoring you on 7 signs of aging. Once you do that, the great thing is not just the score. The great thing is that you will get a personalized product routine recommendation. So before we move to full personalization and custom-made formula, we already have started to work a lot on personalization in terms of messages, recommendation, and I'm happy to announce to Jean-Paul that we already have 1.3 billion data records on our consumers, and so we have progressed a lot in terms of knowing better our consumers and being able to personalize.
By the way, I recommend to all of you, if you have not done it, to go to the booth, to L'Oréal booth. It's pretty amazing.
You should try you can change the color of your hair.
Yeah, something fantastic to change. You can try, makeup on yourself, change the color of your hair, and I even, made Mr. Bruno Le Maire, our Minister of Finance and Economy this morning, try blue hair, pink hair.
Do you have a picture of that I could use?
Not on me, but
it's classified.
It's already on the it's already on the social media, I think.
Question from the audience. The first one, I'm going to rephrase in a sense, it has to do with the blockchain and transparency. There is a lot of requests from the people today, especially the younger, the millennials, to have more transparency. Are you ready to use blockchain to be more transparent about the ingredients you use in your products?
So it's already being piloted and experimented in our operations through the operations 4.0, even 5.0 maybe soon projects. And so blockchain will be key in the traceability of our ingredients, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, clearly, this is clearly a priority. This is clearly the way of tomorrow, and L'Oréal is already totally transparent with the means that we have today, but you're absolutely right. Blockchains, digital will allow us to be totally transparent.
Second question, what do you think differentiates you from your competitors like P&G to win in beauty thanks to digital? How can digital make you even better than P&G? I think that's the question.
But I think it's pretty obvious. First, you just have to see what they do and what we do. In fact, you know, there are several differences. First, we started this digital revolution before all others. We started in 2010, and collectively with the executive committee and then with all the countries of the world, with all the teams, we realized that this digital tsunami was coming, and we had to have a digital mobilization before any other company. I think the other guys, they understood it a few years later. Number two, we did it very differently. You know, we are not a company where you give one order from the top and then it's one rule fits all. We are very decentralized, sometimes a bit chaotic, but it's the price to pay to be decentralized. And digital is, by definition, by nature, something that works in decentralized organization. So today it's very clear that in terms of digital IQ of our brands, percentage of e-commerce, digital acumen of every team, I think we are far ahead of any competitor, including P&G.
I think that more processed company or more centralized company do very well in stable environments. As Jean-Paul Agon often says, we live in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And in that world, the key thing is to be able to operate from the ground. You know, in China, 7 years ago, e-commerce was maybe 2, 3, 4%. Today, it's more than 35% at the China subsidiary level. If the Chinese team didn't took its destiny in its hands, bet on big partnerships such as with Alibaba or others, and if they were waiting for us in Clichy, you know, to go and realize how big this was, we wouldn't be there. So I think the power of L'Oréal is really to be able to let the country be super autonomous and super consumer-centric in what they feel from the ground, take the bets, and then we can scale what works, replicate best practices, etc. And I think the second thing is that we have, from the start, integrated digital into the business. It was not like let's have those bunch of guys operate on the silo on the edge of the company. This is not efficient to transform. To transform, you have to integrate digital into marketing, into commerce, into communication, into supply chain, into manufacturing, and this is how you really do transform the company.
We have 30 seconds left. What's your goal for this year when it comes to digital sales? How much of your sales will come from a digital platform, you think, by the end of this year?
Well, you know, it's difficult because we don't have a crystal ball, but seeing the rhythm, you know, for us, e-commerce, I mean, you have to separate digital and e-commerce because digital now is half of everything we do. It's 50% of all the marketing spend that we do, and anyway, very soon, everything will be digital, so it will not make sense to say how much comes from digital. But if we speak about e-commerce only, e-commerce is now 12%. It's growing at 44%, so it's going to reach very soon 15%, maybe at the end of the year, and probably in the next few years, 20%, 25%, etc. So it's also, you know, at L'Oréal, we don't decide what objective we want to have. We let it come. Because it is, again, a grassroots from every country, and this is the way it works the best.
Thank you, and see you next year at VivaTech.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.